Imagine just one single event. A cataclysm that doesn't just cause chaos, no, it rips reality apart. But instead of falling apart, it splits, into this dizzying array of parallel universes, each one a slightly different story, all branching from that one moment. For 70 years now, the king of the monsters, Godzilla, he's been doing exactly that, splintering timelines, forging completely new myths with every single roar.
It's really quite extraordinary when you think about it. What started as this singular, absolutely terrifying creature has evolved into this immense multiversal tapestry. It's this complex web of stories that constantly reinterpret the core ideas, adapting, resonating with new generations, but always somehow circling back to those devastating origins.
Welcome, curious learners, to The Deep Dive. Today, we're not just looking at one creature. We're trying to navigate this entire multiversal tapestry. Our mission, really, is to take you on a kind of definitive chronicle through these many worlds of Godzilla. We want to chart how this single, really powerful concept gave birth to a whole multiverse of enduring myths. And each one reflects different fears, different hopes, different creative visions.
And right at the heart of all this sprawling lore, this sort of grand branching point where almost all the later Godzilla histories diverge. Well, that's what we're calling the Nexus event.
The Nexus event, okay.
It's that foundational moment, the 1954 attack on Tokyo, the original film Gojira. It doesn't just start a story. It's essentially the common ancestor for almost every Japanese timeline that comes after it. It's this foundational trauma that just ripples outward, splitting into countless branches.
Okay, so we're going to explore the usual production eras, Shōwa, Heisei, Millennium, and Reiwa, but maybe with a bit more of a critical eye today. Because, you see, these aren't just random time periods, are they? They actually reflect really distinct approaches to the character himself.
Exactly.
We'll try to distinguish between the, let's say, more cohesive narrative sagas, like the original Shōwa run, and that tightly plotted Heisei series.
Right, the ones with a clear beginning, middle, and end for that Godzilla.
Yeah, exactly. And then contrast those with the more anthology-style interpretations we see later, defining the Millennium and Reiwa eras. Each of those offers these unique, often standalone reimaginings of the whole Godzilla mythos. And you'll see firsthand how Godzilla transforms, from this terrifying symbol of nuclear horror into a heroic champion. And then sometimes right back again. It really reflects the anxieties and the creative impulses of each specific era.
It's a journey that I think profoundly reveals the incredible narrative plasticity of the character, his ability to be constantly reshaped while always somehow retaining that core essence.
Okay, let's unpack that foundational moment then. The genesis of the king. The 1954 Gojira film. This is really, truly where it all started. The first terrifying incarnation. Born directly from the very real trauma of atomic warfare. It's powerful, unsettling stuff right from the get-go, a direct reflection of Japan's post-war reality.
And what's truly fascinating right from that point is how immediately this singular event became a branching point. It defined the very nature of the multiverse before anyone even really used that term for it.
Right.
Instead of strict adherence to, one single linear timeline, the 54 film laid the groundwork for constant reinterpretation, for parallel histories. It was a concept that almost serendipitously would define the entire franchise for decades, allowing it to constantly adapt and stay relevant.
It's absolutely crucial to understand the context here. Our sources, they tell us the appearance of this prehistoric creature, this Gojira, was directly linked to American hydrogen bomb testing at Bikini Atoll.
That's the trigger.
Yeah. The first hint of this horror is the destruction of a fishing vessel, the Aiko Maru. Its crew is mysteriously incinerated. This leads to an investigation by the paleontologist Dr. Kyohei Amane, and he confirms, with this chilling certainty, the existence of this colossal, 50-meter-tall amphibious reptile, undeniably mutated, awakened by the very radiation humanity unleashed.
And when he finally makes landfall in Tokyo, oh man, his path of destruction, it directly evokes the unspeakable horrors of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah.
And then comes that terrifying realization. Conventional weapons, completely useless against him. Humanity is left utterly helpless, facing its own creation.
And this primal terror, it culminates in the introduction of a desperate last resort, the oxygen destroyer.
Ah, yes, Dr. Serizawa's version.
Developed by this brilliant but deeply tormented scientist, Dr. Daisuke Serizawa. This terrifying superweapon is the only thing capable of defeating Godzilla, disintegrating him there in Tokyo Bay.
But the critical point here, the one that echoes as this foundational ethical dilemma across so many timelines, is Serizawa's profound, tragic sacrifice.
He knows what he's made.
Exactly. He understands the immense destructive power he's unleashed, and he fears, rightly, that his invention will inevitably be weaponized for future wars. So he chooses to take the secret of the oxygen destroyer with him to his watery grave, just ensuring that such devastating power would never again fall into human hands.
Wow.
It wasn't just a plot device, you know. Serizawa's moral stand, his choice to bury that destructive power, it became a template for the series' conscience, continually asking that question, does humanity have the right to wield ultimate power, even against a monster?
So, okay, if the 1954 attack was humanity's, rude awakening, our sources reveal that the Shōwa universe specifically had this secret history running much, much deeper. Before humanity even knew what hit them, before this Godzilla, this world was apparently already bursting with ancient, incredible life, even lost empires.
That's a fascinating expansion of the world.
The Shōwa universe, yeah, it has this incredibly rich, deep history, spanning hundreds of millions of years.
Which immediately makes you ask, right, how much of our world's history, our real history maybe, is shaped by these hidden primordial forces?
Exactly.
The Shōwa era hints at this much grander pre-human saga. It suggests that our current understanding of Earth is just this thin veneer over eons of monstrous history, where kaiju weren't anomalies, they were the original inhabitants.
Right. Our sources detail how, way back in the Carboniferous period, those high oxygen levels led to the evolution of gigantic insects like the Mechagodzilla. Their eggs would just lie dormant for ages. Waiting. Then you jump forward to the Jurassic period, and we get this unique amphibious theropod dinosaur thriving in the Pacific, the direct ancestor of Godzilla as we know him. And here's where it gets kind of wild. Even after the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction event, the cataclysm that wiped out most dinosaurs 65 million years ago.
The big one.
The big one. Small, isolated populations of these large reptiles, including the ancestors of Godzilla and Gojira and Rodan, they incredibly survived. In these hidden ecosystems, just slumbering beneath the earth.
And at the same time, basically concurrently with these slumbering titans, advanced civilizations were rising and falling, mostly unknown to us surface dwellers.
Like Atlantis, but different.
Sort of, yeah. We learn about the Undersea Mu Empire and the subterranean kingdom of Seatopia. Both apparently possessed incredible, almost magical technologies. They even had their own guardian deities, like the mighty sea serpent Manda.
Wow.
Imagine entire lost worlds beneath the waves, right? Shaping their own histories, developing powerful weapons and protective forces, all alongside these sleeping giants. It really sets the stage for future conflicts.
It gets even crazier, though, bringing in this cosmic element. Our sources revealed that around 3000 BCE, the planet Venus was completely annihilated by the catastrophic arrival of King Ghidorah.
Space dragon.
A three-headed space dragon, yeah. This forced humanoid Venusian prophets to flee their doomed world and seek refuge here on Earth, assimilating into ancient human cultures. Think about that. A cosmic catastrophe predating recorded human history, directly impacting our world, planting seeds for future conflicts.
It adds a whole other layer.
And then, around 500 BCE, on Okinawa, the ancient Azumi people, they construct their majestic guardian golem, King Caesar, complete with a prophecy of his return to defend their land in a time of great need. It just paints this picture of a world steeped in ancient, almost mythological conflicts and hidden histories long before Godzilla even emerged onto the modern stage.
It truly grounds the kaiju in this deep, almost cosmic prehistory. It suggests their existence isn't just a modern aberration or only a result of human hubris, but an ancient, intrinsic, maybe even fated part of the planet's very being, with a destiny tied to both Earth and the cosmos.
And as if, one Godzilla wasn't enough to deal with, the world quickly woke up to a whole new, terrifying ecosystem. This is the early monster age, right after 54, basically 1955 to 1961. It made it abundantly clear Godzilla was not a one-off.
Indeed. That 1954 creature was not unique, which must have been a chilling realization for humanity.
Oh, yeah?
In 1955, just a year later, a second Godzilla is discovered, locked in this brutal battle with the Ankylosaurus-like Anguirus on some remote icy island. Their ferocious fight devastates Osaka before this new Godzilla buries himself in ice. It confirmed the first was an anomaly, but part of this larger, previously hidden ecosystem of colossal creatures.
It set a precedent.
Absolutely. Where there was one, there would be more.
Then, 1956, it's not just land or sea monsters. Giant Megagnulon, remember those Carboniferous insects? And two colossal pteranodons, the Rodans, emerge from a coal mine near Mount Aso. They quickly wreak havoc, ultimately devastating Fukuoka before perishing in a volcanic eruption. It's like the Earth itself is just shedding its skin, revealing these ancient, dormant beings from every corner, every era.
Every ecosystem seems to have its giant monster waiting.
Pretty much. 1958 brings Varan, who is worshipped as a god in some remote village, awakened and attacking Haneda Airport. And then 1961, humanity's reckless actions provoke a truly monumental awakening. The abduction of the miniature priestesses, the Shōbijin from Infant Island.
Oh, Mothra's fairies.
Exactly. That provokes the guardian deity Mothra to hatch from her colossal egg and travel across the ocean to Tokyo. It demonstrates this deep connection between human actions and the awakening of these powerful, almost elemental forces.
These events definitively establish that Earth is home to numerous dormant kaiju, all capable of being awakened by human activity, whether it's atomic tests, mining, or even, cultural insensitivity like kidnapping tiny priestesses.
Good point.
It sets the stage for humanity to continually face the profound, often devastating consequences of its actions. That's a theme that truly resonates and evolves through the entire Shōwa era, shaping its very identity.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. This is where we see Godzilla undergo this fundamental shift in character, right?
Yeah.
From horror icon to hero.
It's a big turn.
Yeah. Imagine going from pure destruction, this symbol of humanity's folly, to saving the world from alien invaders. Talk about a career change. Godzilla's transformation from destructive force to, well, reluctant protector really takes hold from 1962 to 1975. It changes the very DNA of the franchise.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this transformation definitely reflects changing societal views and the evolving needs of the audience in post-war Japan.
How so?
Well, the initial terror of the atomic bomb, symbolized by Godzilla in '54, that began to soften as Japan moved into this era of rapid economic growth, increasing global engagement. Godzilla became maybe a more palatable figure, especially for younger audiences. He started embodying protection and national strength rather than just dread.
Okay.
He transformed into this symbol of strength that could defend the nation against increasingly fantastical threats, kind of mirroring Japan's own resurgence on the world stage.
That makes sense. Okay, so our sources point to 1962 as a key moment. The second Godzilla, the one buried in ice. He's freed after an American nuclear submarine accidentally collides with his icy prison.
Oops.
Yeah, oops. At the same time, the colossal primate King Kong is brought to Japan from Skull Island for, an exhibition. And the two giants inevitably clash near Mount Fuji in this truly monumental, unforgettable battle.
King Kong versus Godzilla, huge hit.
Massive. And arguably, it cemented Godzilla's place in popular culture, pushing him further into the realm of, fantastical entertainment.
The pivotal moment for his heroic transformation, though, I'd argue, truly arrives in 1964, with the arrival of King Ghidorah.
The three-headed nightmare from space.
Exactly. This planet-destroying cosmic entity forces a whole new dynamic. After a devastating battle where Mothra heroically dies protecting her egg from Godzilla, two larvae hatch, the surviving Mothra larva then does something extraordinary. It persuades an initially hostile Godzilla and Rodan to put aside their rivalry and unite against this greater cosmic threat.
Well, the larva talks them into it.
Well, communicate somehow, maybe through the Shōbijin, but it's the first time these titans truly cooperate for the greater good. They successfully drive Ghidorah away, and that cooperative spirit, that's the turning point. It establishes Godzilla as capable of alliance and, crucially, of defending Earth.
And the transformation sticks. Our sources show that later battles increasingly involve Godzilla fighting alien invaders trying to conquer Earth or control monsters, like the Zillions in Invasion of Astro Monster.
Right, trying to use Godzilla and Rodan as weapons.
Yeah. We also see him battling the giant lobster Ibira in Ibira, Horror of the Deep. And then 1967, the charmingly clumsy birth of Manila, his adopted son in Son of Godzilla.
Ah, Manila. Controversial for some fans, but important for this shift.
Definitely. This is where he truly takes on this paternal protective role, defending his kid from other threats, further softening his image.
And by the early 70s, specifically 71 to 75, Godzilla fully cements his role as the undisputed champion of Earth.
He fights Ghidorah, the smog monster, That fight is gruesome.
It really is a very environmentally conscious fight where he's visibly injured, pushed to his limits by pollution incarnate. Then he teams up with his old rival Anguirus against the cyborg Gigan and a returning King Ghidorah.
See, old threats keep coming back.
Exactly, forcing old enemies into unlikely alliances. He even fights alongside the size-changing robot Jet Jaguar against the insectoid Megalon.
Jet Jaguar.
And the Zone Fighter TV series in 1973. It shows Godzilla as a recurring ally, consistently defending Earth. It even includes the definitive death of the original Gamelegan, killed by Zone Fighter, showing Godzilla's established heroic status by then.
The era then culminates with the rise of Mechagodzilla, right? Maybe his most iconic robotic foe.
Arguably, yes.
In 1974, these ape-like aliens from the third planet of the black hole unleash this terrifying robotic duplicate designed to frame and destroy Godzilla. But Godzilla, helped by the ancient Okinawan guardian King Caesar.
It was just a prophecy.
Exactly. He managed to destroy the imposter after a brutal battle. But the aliens return in 1975 with an upgraded Mechagodzilla 2 and the aquatic dinosaur Titanosaurus, forcing Godzilla into this desperate two-on-one fight.
And he needs help.
Yeah, with crucial human assistance, particularly this Interpol-developed sonic weapon that disorients Titanosaurus. He ultimately wins, ending the alien threat for good and solidifying his position as humanity's, albeit destructive, protector.
It's a remarkable journey from menace to planetary guardian. Which brings us to the definitive conclusion for the Shōwa era, specifically that 1999 event depicted in Destroy All Monsters. It neatly ties up, well, not 70 years, but a good couple of decades of loose threads, giving this particular Godzilla and his monstrous allies a well-earned rest. It's a rare and honestly pretty satisfying sense of closure for the King of the Monsters.
So, okay, we're in 1999 in universe time. The Shōwa continuity culminates with all of Earth's monsters, Godzilla, Manila, everyone peacefully confined to Monsterland on the Ogasawara Islands. It's supposed to be this era of peace, right? A utopian experiment in kaiju management.
Supposed to be.
Yeah. But naturally, things quickly go sideways, setting the stage for one last truly epic confrontation.
Precisely. The Kilaaks, this technologically advanced, female-led alien race with very sinister intentions, they seize control of the island and its monstrous inhabitants using mind control.
Oh, boy.
They unleash the monsters globally, directing them to wreak havoc on major cities, London, Moscow, Paris, New York, throwing humanity into utter chaos. This forces humanity to act swiftly and decisively. A resourceful human crew aboard the advanced spacecraft Moonlight SY-3 travels to the Kilaak base hidden on the moon.
On the moon.
On the moon. And they successfully sever the aliens' mind control over the kaiju, a pivotal moment of human ingenuity and resilience against overwhelming odds.
But the Kilaaks, they don't give up easy, do they?
Not at all. In a final, desperate, and incredibly audacious act, they summon their ultimate weapon, the terrifying King Ghidorah, once again from the depths of space.
So it all comes down to this.
It leads to this truly epic confrontation in the shadow of Mount Fuji. Our sources confirm that all of Earth's assembled titans, Godzilla, Manila, Rodan, Mothra, Anguirus, Gorosaurus, Kumonga, Mandavaran, and Baragon, they all unite for this decisive climactic battle against King Ghidorah.
The ultimate monster rumble.
It is. They collectively overwhelm and brutally kill him, demonstrating a unity of purpose never before seen on such a grand scale. Gorosaurus even does his famous kangaroo kick.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate monster mashup, a grand finale where the Earth's titans finally achieve true unity against a common cosmic foe. Godzilla then locates and destroys the Kilaaks' hidden base on Earth, permanently ending their invasion.
And the monsters.
They're finally returned to Monsterland, where they are left to live in hard-earned peace. It's a complete and incredibly satisfying arc for this particular version of Godzilla, ending not with his destruction, but with this sense of collective victory and a well-deserved tranquility for Earth's defenders.
Okay, so what does this all mean for the next era? After all those heroic team-ups, a grand finale of the Shōwa period, Toho basically just hits the reset button with the Heisei series, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
They deliberately ignored almost the entire Shōwa continuity after, Godzilla raids again in 1955. Effectively making Godzilla scary again. This period, 1984 to 1996, it's a direct, but much darker, sequel only to the original 1954 film.
And this really highlights that fascinating creative tension that continually shapes the franchise, doesn't it? The desire for narrative coherence, a tight, evolving storyline, versus the creative freedom of just telling episodic monster stories.
Right.
The Heisei era explicitly chose coherence, creating a very strong, self-contained arc for one specific Godzilla. It meticulously stripped away the heroic, almost family-friendly aspects that had developed in the later Shōwa films and returned him to his roots. A terrifying, destructive antagonist, emphasizing the ongoing trauma of the 1954 attack as this defining historical fact for this new timeline.
And in 1984, our sources say, 30 years after the first Godzilla's supposed demise in Tokyo Bay, a terrifying new chapter begins. A volcanic eruption in the Pacific awakens a second Godzilla, a creature every bit as destructive as the original.
And he immediately makes his presence known.
Yeah, attacks a Soviet nuclear submarine, escalating Cold War tensions right to the brink of global conflict, until the Japanese government is forced to reveal his terrifying return. This Heisei Godzilla, he's depicted as purely destructive, almost animalistic, driven by this instinctual hunger for nuclear energy. He attacks a power plant before setting his sights on Tokyo.
And the Japanese government, in a really significant display of sovereignty, notably resists intense pressure from both the U.S. and the USSR to use nuclear weapons on Japanese soil, a poignant callback to the '54 trauma.
Instead, they deploy their new tech marvel, the Super X Flying Fortress.
Right, a heavily armored airborne weapon.
The Super X manages to incapacitate Godzilla with cadmium shells, temporarily halting his rampage. But then, a freak accident involving a Soviet satellite missile, accidentally triggered in the atmosphere,
Again?
revives him. Ultimately, in a desperate plan, Professor Hayashida uses a sonic device to lure Godzilla to Mount Mihara, where a controlled eruption traps the monster within the volcano.
It effectively reestablishes Godzilla as this unstoppable force of nature that can only be contained, maybe not truly defeated by human means, at least not yet, setting the stage for the rest of the Heisei saga.
Then we move into this era of, well, scientific hubris and new complex threats, stretching from 1989 to 1992. Humanity, seemingly incapable of learning its lesson, just can't stop messing with Godzilla's biological cells, his G cells, and even messing with time itself.
This whole period really poses that crucial question, doesn't it? Can humanity truly fix its past mistakes? Or do our interventions just create new, more complex, and often more powerful problems?
It's like the latter, usually.
The Heisei era, especially with the G cells and the time travel paradox, it serves as a masterclass in unintended consequences, where every solution seems to just spawn a new, larger threat.
Right, so 1989. Godzilla's cells, those incredibly resilient G cells, recovered from the '84 attack, they become highly sought after for cutting-edge bioengineering research. Yeah. This dangerous obsession leads to Dr. Junichiro Shiragami, a grieving geneticist, secretly combining Godzilla's DNA with his deceased daughter Erica's Rose DNA, resulting in the creation of Biolante.
Which is just one of the most unique kaiju designs ever.
Truly, it's not just a monster, it's this massive, sentient, plant-animal hybrid kaiju, a truly grotesque and beautiful testament to human grief and scientific overreach. Meanwhile, you've got nefarious biomajor agents freeing Godzilla from Mount Mihara, trying to ransom the newly developed anti-nuclear energy bacteria, or ANEB.
A weapon designed to starve Godzilla of his nuclear energy.
Exactly.
Biolante evolves through several stages, culminating in that truly monstrous, crocodilian-headed form, battling Godzilla in this bizarre, almost tragic clash. She even manages to infect him with the ANEB before dissolving into golden spores that ascend into space, leaving this lingering mystery.
And potential future threat.
Indeed, but the true paradox, a brilliant piece of science fiction, arrives in 1992. The Futurians, time travelers from the year 2204, arrive with the seemingly benevolent plan: erase Godzilla from history entirely.
This is where it gets really mind-bending. A proper time loop.
Totally. The Futurians try to erase Godzilla by moving his prehistoric form, a Godzillasaurus, from Lagos Island back in 1944, hoping to prevent his mutation by the H-bomb tests.
Makes sense on paper.
But, in a cruel twist of fate, they inadvertently place him directly in the path of a sunken nuclear submarine in the Bering Sea decades later. This creates a causal loop. The very Godzilla they tried to erase is mutated anyway, and now he's far larger, more powerful, and even more devastating than he would have been.
Oh man, you just can't win.
It's a perfect example of how trying to control history can paradoxically strengthen the very thing you fear.
And their malevolent plan goes even further, right?
Oh yeah. While moving the Godzillasaurus, they secretly leave behind 3 genetically engineered pets called Dorets on Lagos Island. These creatures are then exposed to the lingering radiation from the 1954 H-bomb test,
Let me guess.
mutating and merging them into the terrifying 3-headed King Ghidorah, but this time he's an engineered weapon. This engineered Ghidorah attacks Japan under direct Futurian control. Thankfully, a Futurian defector, Emi Kano, eventually helps humanity build Mecha King Ghidorah from the salvaged remains of Ghidorah to stop the now incredibly empowered Godzilla.
So they fight fire with fire. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's this terrifying cycle where attempts to control or remove a threat only end up exacerbating it, creating even more formidable challenges. It's a core theme of the Heisei era.
This is just epic stuff. The Heisei era brings us Godzilla's own family saga and then his ultimate demise, giving us the whole arc of a single Godzilla, from brutal threat to grieving parent to sacrificial hero, leading to the birth of a new king. It unfolds dramatically from 1993 to 1996, creating a truly complete narrative for this iconic monster.
The Heisei series, unlike its Shōwa predecessor, provides this truly coherent emotional narrative arc for one specific Godzilla, detailing his entire life cycle from his terrifying reemergence to his death, and finally, his legacy. It's a powerful narrative choice that makes his journey incredibly impactful for the audience. Gives a real sense of finality and generational transition to his particular story.
So 1993. Our sources tell us a meteorite strikes the Pacific. It awakens Godzilla and unearths an ancient colossal egg on Infant Island, home of Mothra.
A double trouble.
And that same impact also awakens Mothra, the Black Mothra, apparently a divine guardian created 12,000 years ago to punish ancient civilizations that disrupted the planet's climate. Bit of an eco-warrior.
A darker counterpart to Mothra.
Exactly. The egg hatches into a Mothra larva and Mothra emerges, leading to this incredible three-way battle for planetary balance. Mothra and Mothra eventually form this uneasy alliance against the greater threat of Godzilla, but Godzilla brutally kills Mothra during the struggle. A tired Mothra then heroically seals Godzilla beneath the waves, fulfilling a promise to her fallen rival and ensuring temporary peace.
Then the narrative deepens in 1994, with humanity's continued attempts to counter Godzilla. G-Force, Japan's anti-kaiju task force, builds Super Mechagodzilla, a formidable new weapon constructed from Mecha King Ghidorah's salvaged tech.
Meanwhile, an egg discovered on a Danoa island hatches into baby Godzilla, who quickly imprints on a human scientist, creating this unique bond.
The cute factor returns.
A little bit. Godzilla is naturally drawn to his child's psychic cries. Rodan, revived and supercharged by radiation into the powerful fire Rodan, sacrifices itself, transferring its life force to Godzilla.
A noble sacrifice.
Totally. This act not only regenerates Godzilla's injured brain, but also supercharges his atomic breath into the devastating red spiral heat ray, which he uses to utterly destroy Super Mechagodzilla. It's a beautiful, tragic moment of sacrifice and transformation for Godzilla, showing a more complex emotional side.
And the family saga continues in 1995 with a truly cosmic threat. Those G cells carried into space, maybe by Biollante spores, maybe Mothra.
We're not sure which.
Right. They create Space Godzilla, a malevolent cosmic duplicate with these crystalline powers. This Space Godzilla defeats Godzilla and, in a really cruel twist, imprisons his son, now larger and called Little Godzilla, in this fortress of crystals in Fukuoka.
Ouch.
But Godzilla, alongside the new multi-purpose mech MOGUERA, forms an unlikely alliance to defeat his cosmic twin and free his son, once again showcasing his capacity for both destruction and protection.
And then comes the climactic, absolutely heartbreaking end in 1996.
Meltdown.
Yeah. A subterranean explosion causes Godzilla's internal nuclear reactor to go critical. He becomes Burning Godzilla, threatening this catastrophic global meltdown that would literally incinerate the planet. Simultaneously, the very soil where the oxygen destroyer was used back in 1954 gives rise to a new, horrifying enemy, Destoroyah.
The living oxygen destroyer, essentially.
Pretty much. A demonic creature formed from mutated Precambrian crustaceans, an echo of humanity's past mistakes coming back to haunt them. The plan becomes this desperate, almost suicidal gamble. Lure Godzilla to Tokyo to fight Destoroyah, hoping it kills him before his inevitable meltdown.
And they use his son as bait.
Horrifyingly, yes. Godzilla Jr., now a formidable subadult, is used as bait and is brutally killed by Destoroyah. It's a truly shocking and tragic moment for the audience.
It really is.
A grieving, enraged, burning Godzilla arrives, battling Destoroyah in this desperate, fiery struggle. He ultimately defeats it with crucial military assistance using freezing weapons, but the fight has drained him.
This time is up.
As Godzilla finally melts away into pure energy, the immense radiation he releases is absorbed by Godzilla Jr.'s corpse. And in this moment of phoenix-like resurrection, Jr. resurrects, fully grown as the new king of the monsters, taking his father's mantle.
It's such a powerful and truly definitive end to this particular Godzilla story, with a new generation stepping up to inherit his terrifying but also maybe protective legacy, a complete cycle.
This Millennium era, though,
Mm-hmm.
it really allowed filmmakers to just play, didn't it? So many different takes on the Big G. It's like you said, like a greatest hits album, but every track is a unique remix.
Exactly.
Especially since most films function as direct sequels only to the original 1954 Gojira, effectively creating distinct parallel universes with each new entry. This was Toho's response, really, to that 1998 American Godzilla film, wasn't it?
Largely, yes. It felt like a reclaiming, but also an opportunity.
Yeah.
This period demonstrates the incredible narrative plasticity of Godzilla, almost an acknowledgement that he's too big for just one single narrative thread anymore.
Right.
By resetting the continuity with each new film, filmmakers were freed from the constraints of an overarching saga like Heisei. This allowed them to explore vastly different facets of his character, from a regenerative force of nature to a vessel for vengeful spirits, or even, a martial arts master in a global battle royale. It allowed for immense creative diversity and some really bold new ideas.
Kicking it off, we have Godzilla 2000, Millennium.
Oh.
Here, Godzilla is presented as this mysterious, recurring force of nature, a terrifying threat that emerges sporadically. His cells, dubbed Organizer G1, grant him incredible regenerative abilities.
The plot involves an ancient alien millennium UFO trying to absorb his DNA to adapt to Earth's atmosphere.
Bad idea.
Very bad idea. It inadvertently mutates into this new kaiju called Orga. Godzilla eventually destroys Orga with a powerful nuclear pulse from within, and the film concludes with that profound idea that Godzilla exists in us, suggesting his presence is tied to humanity's very essence, our hubris, perhaps.
Then comes Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. This one offers a significant retcon, creating an entirely new timeline. Here, the 1954 Godzilla was never killed. The oxygen destroyer never existed.
Big change.
Huge. In this universe, Japan abandons nuclear energy entirely and moves its capital to Osaka. A new satellite weapon, designed to create a black hole to eliminate Godzilla,
As you do.
inadvertently creates a wormhole to the Carboniferous period, bringing forth the ancient Mechagodzilla and their queen, Mechagodzilla, who steal Godzilla's energy. Godzilla seemingly vanishes in the blast of the Dimension Tide, the black hole weapon, though his roar at the end implies he somehow survived, leaving his fate ambiguous.
And then there's Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah. Giant monsters all out attack, or just GMK, which is a really dark, supernatural, and incredibly popular take.
This one feels different.
Totally. This Godzilla is utterly malevolent, depicted as the living, vengeful manifestation of the souls of those killed in the Pacific War. Furious at a modern Japan that has forgotten their sacrifice and grown complacent. To defend Japan from this demonic force, 3 ancient guardian monsters awaken.
But not the usual suspects entirely.
Right. The earth-dwelling Baragon, the benevolent Mothra, and controversially, a heroic King Ghidorah, reimagined here as an ancient protector dragon.
And this film explicitly acknowledges the 1998 American film, right?
It does. Famously dismisses it as not the real Godzilla, a little humorous jab for the fans.
Godzilla in GMK is truly terrifying, remorseless. Driven by pure malice, he brutally kills Baragon. Even Mothra sacrifices herself to save King Ghidorah, empowering him into the 1,000-year-old dragon.
Though Ghidorah is ultimately destroyed, too.
Yeah. The spirits of the guardian monsters then drag Godzilla underwater, where he's finally destroyed from within by a missile fired by a human protagonist. But in that haunting final shot, his disembodied, still-beating heart is seen on the ocean floor, implying his malevolent spirit could return. It's a very haunting, almost horror-driven interpretation, deeply rooted in historical guilt.
Moving on to what's known as the Curie saga. That includes Godzilla against Mechagodzilla and Godzilla, Tokyo SOS. This era gives us a new biomechanical Mechagodzilla codenamed Kiryu.
And what's unique here is that Kiryu is built using the perfectly intact skeleton of the original 1954 Godzilla.
That's the hook. A heavy one. In 2003, during a battle, Godzilla's roar triggers this profound genetic memory in Kiryu, awakening the original Godzilla spirit within the mech, sending it berserk and creating this haunting inner conflict for the machine. Ghost in the machine, literally.
Oh.
And in the sequel, Tokyo SOS, the Shōbijin, Mothra's tiny priestesses, they warn humanity that the 1954 Godzilla soul cannot rest because its bones are being used for Kiryu. The mech must be returned to the sea.
So Mothra gets involved again.
She returns to battle Godzilla alongside Kiryu, ultimately sacrificing herself to protect her larva. In a profoundly emotional climax, the original Godzilla spirit takes full control of Kiryu. And in this surprising moment of mercy and self-sacrifice, the mech, now driven by the original Godzilla's soul, carries the still-living Godzilla into the Japan Trench, ensuring the original's restless spirit can finally find peace.
Surprisingly emotional for a giant robot story.
It really is. A surprisingly philosophical conclusion.
And finally, for the Millennium Era, we have Godzilla, Final Wars, which is just a hyper-stylized, absolutely wild 50th anniversary celebration of the franchise.
All bets are off in this one.
Totally. Godzilla is initially trapped in Antarctic ice until aliens, the insidious Zillions again, unleash a global monster attack, forcing humanity to free Godzilla as a desperate last resort. He then embarks on this truly epic world tour, effortlessly defeating a massive roster of kaiju from across the franchise's history.
Including a very brief but very definitive beatdown of Zilla, the 1998 American Godzilla, in under 30 seconds.
That felt pointed.
Oh, it was a definitive statement from Toho, no doubt. A meta-commentary on the previous Hollywood attempt. The film culminates in this truly explosive battle against Kaiser Ghidorah, a superpowered version of King Ghidorah. Godzilla ultimately defeats him after being empowered by a mutant soldier. And then he peacefully returns to the sea, pacified by the appearance of his adopted son, Manila, who convinces him to spare the humans. It's a spectacular, no-holds-barred celebration of the character's legacy, embracing the camp and the chaos that made the Shōwa era so beloved, but with this sleek, modern sheen. A true monster wrestling spectacle.
Okay, on to Reiwa. These films really dig deep, don't they? This is Toho's most recent phase, fully embracing standalone universes from 2016 to present, moving away from interconnected sagas entirely.
Yeah, strong directorial visions are key here.
From biting political satire to existential dread, Godzilla becomes this canvas for some incredibly poignant and provocative stories, often reflecting very contemporary Japanese anxieties.
These films truly push the boundaries of what a Godzilla story can be. Moving beyond simple monster action, they leverage Godzilla as this powerful metaphor for deep-seated national traumas and modern fears, forcing audiences, really, to confront uncomfortable truths about their own societies and the human condition. They reflect contemporary anxieties in a very direct, intelligent, and impactful way.
And it starts with a bang with Shin Godzilla in 2016, a stark, terrifying reboot, depicting Godzilla's first ever appearance in modern Japan.
It feels almost like a documentary at times.
It does. It's a pointed, almost documentary-style satire of government bureaucracy and Japan's crisis response, heavily inspired by the slow, often criticized response to the 2011 Fukushima disaster. Godzilla evolves rapidly through multiple grotesque forms, from this bizarre, cadpole-like creature lumbering through Tokyo's canals, to a terrifying fourth form with massive exposed gills and a devastating focused purple atomic beam.
And that beam comes not just from his mouth.
No, but also from his dorsal fins and even his tail. It's insane.
Humanity struggles desperately against this unstoppable, rapidly evolving force. The government is just paralyzed by endless meetings, red tape, indecision, a biting critique in itself. But a team of young, unconventional outcasts eventually devises Operation Yashiori, a desperate plan to freeze Godzilla solid with a blood coagulant delivered orally.
And they succeed.
They do, in a nail-biting climax. But that final, haunting shot reveals these grotesque humanoid skeletal creatures budding from Godzilla's frozen tail, indicating a horrifying next evolutionary stage.
Chilling.
That image transforms Godzilla from a mere force of nature into this grotesque, self-replicating plague and evolution of the nuclear metaphor itself, suggesting humanity's problems are not just external but potentially internal, endlessly proliferating. It's a truly unsettling ending.
Then we have the anime trilogy Planet of the Monsters, City on the Edge of Battle, and The Planet Eater, a truly bleak, epic sci-fi saga.
Very different flavor.
Totally. In this timeline, at the end of the 20th century, Godzilla systematically defeats all other kaiju, driving humanity to flee Earth on this interstellar exodus. 20,000 years later, humanity returns to a completely transformed world, now ruled by Godzilla Earth.
Who is enormous.
Gargantuan. A 300-meter-tall titan that has become the planet's apex predator and its very ecosystem.
The story in this trilogy explores incredibly profound and often pessimistic themes. The futility of human vengeance through Captain Haru Sakaki, whose entire life is driven by this obsessive desire to kill Godzilla.
Right.
The dangers of unchecked technology with the sentient Mechagodzilla city, this sprawling, self-replicating urban construct made of nanometal. And cosmic nihilism, as the Exif, an alien death cult, summon King Ghidorah not as a physical creature, but as a pure energy being that exists outside normal dimensions.
Wow.
Haruo's tragic sacrifice ensures humanity lives a primitive, new life with the Hutua tribe, choosing survival and coexistence over feudal resistance against a truly cosmic and ancient, incomprehensible force. It's a very philosophical, almost existential take on the monster's place in the universe.
Yeah, and then in 2023, we got Godzilla -1, which establishes the earliest canonical appearance of the monster immediately after World War II from 1945 to 1947.
Right back to the beginning, almost.
Yeah, and this film starts with a deeply personal focus. Kamikaze pilot Koichi Shikishima faces an early, smaller Godzilla on Odo Island, racked with guilt from feigning engine trouble to survive the war.
That initial encounter sets the stage for a deeply personal and emotionally resonant narrative. The creature, already formidable, is then mutated and empowered by American nuclear tests at Bikini Atoll in 1946. Transforming into the 50-meter empowered Godzilla we see devastate Ginza, Tokyo in 1947.
And his new atomic breath.
Overwhelmingly powerful, leveling the district with horrifying efficiency, directly tying the monster to the trauma of post-war Japan and the lingering specter of atomic destruction.
With the war-weary government paralyzed by its own limitations and post-war treaties restricting military action, a band of disillusioned, forgotten Navy veterans devise Operation Seawaddle.
A brilliant name.
A daring and desperate plan to kill Godzilla via explosive decompression in the deep sea. Shikishima, wrestling with his survivor's guilt, carries out a suicide mission but chooses life at the last second, ultimately helping ensure the plan works. Godzilla spectacularly disintegrates.
But there's always a but.
Always. That strange mark on Noriko's neck after she seemingly survives the blast, it implies this chilling contamination, or maybe even resurrection, leaving a haunting question mark over humanity's victory. It's a poignant, powerful story about a nation finding its resolve and reclaiming its dignity amidst immense loss and the trauma of war.
It connects Godzilla not just to nuclear trauma, but to the very concept of survivor's guilt, national identity, and collective resilience, serving as this powerful allegory for a nation rebuilding itself from the ashes, facing both its past and future demons. It's a testament to the enduring power of the original metaphor.
And now let's talk about Hollywood's titans, the Western interpretations of Godzilla. This started, infamously, with the TriStar controversy from 1998 to 2000, which really riled up a lot of fans.
That period really highlights the, let's say, non-negotiable elements of the character from the original Japanese creator's perspective. It's a fascinating example of how audience and creator expectations can clash dramatically, leading to a direct course correction in the character's portrayal, almost an act of reclaiming by Toho later on.
Right. Our sources explain that in 1998, French nuclear testing inadvertently mutated marine iguana eggs, leading to this massive, fast, agile creature arriving in New York City. This new Godzilla was reimagined as a pregnant male capable of asexual reproduction,
which was a choice,
laying over 200 eggs within Madison Square Garden. But critically, and this was a huge sticking point for fans, it lacked the iconic atomic breath, breathing only flammable vapor. The military ultimately managed to kill its countless offspring, and then the adult creature itself on the Brooklyn Bridge, seemingly ending the threat.
The critical and fan reception for this film was largely negative, primarily due to the radical redesign and, frankly, depowering of the titular monster. However, the story surprisingly continued directly in Godzilla, the series, an animated show.
Oh yeah, the cartoon, where a single egg from the Madison Square Garden nest survived, hatching into Zilla Jr. This new Godzilla imprinted on Dr. Nick Tatopoulos, and crucially did possess the iconic atomic breath, and was far more durable and intelligent than his predecessor.
So closer to the original.
Much closer. He quickly became HEAT's primary protector against new mutations and alien threats, effectively becoming the heroic monster fans wanted. HEAT, by the way, standing for the Humanitarian Environmental Analysis Team, a group dedicated to studying and combating these new creatures.
And in a powerful symbolic gesture that resonated deeply with fans, Toho itself officially renamed the 1998 creature Zilla, dropping the god to indicate it wasn't the real thing.
Ouch.
And famously had the Japanese Godzilla effortlessly defeated in Final Wars in under 30 seconds. It was a clear, definitive statement, a way to reestablish the true Godzilla on the global stage. Which brings us finally to the MonsterVerse. Legendary Pictures' modern, Western-produced, shared cinematic universe. It's a complete narrative shift from the TriStar model, opting for a grand, continuous, and expansive narrative. focusing on ancient titans, the clandestine monarch organization, and the fascinating Hollow Earth theory.
Hollow Earth, yeah.
The idea of this vast, interconnected ecosystem existing deep within our planet, a hidden world for these colossal beings.
It's incredible how they've built this interconnected world, weaving in all these different creatures and human stories over decades of in-universe time. It's truly like a massive living mythology unfolding, constantly expanding its scope with each new entry.
The MonsterVerse shows a truly globalized approach to kaiju lore, creating a sprawling, continuous narrative that spans decades in universe. With a clear focus on the Titans as ancient forces that predate humanity, powerful elemental beings that shape the planet's very existence. And Monarch is the secret global organization trying to understand, monitor, and ultimately manage them, often operating in the shadows.
The MonsterVerse timeline actually begins quite early, far before any human saw Godzilla on screen in this universe. It kicks off in 1943, with the mysterious sinking of the USS Lawton by an unidentified Titan, sparking early investigations.
Planting the seeds.
Yeah. This eventually leads to the founding of Monarch in 1952 by key figures like U.S. Army officer Lee Shōwa, Japanese scientist Dr. Keiko Miura, and cryptozoologist Bill Randa. They're the pioneers discovering these giant monsters. By 1954, Monarch tracks Godzilla to Bikini Atoll, where the U.S. military attempts to kill him with the infamous Castle Bravo nuclear test. Publicly covered up as a weapons test, but in reality, a failed attempt to eliminate a Titan. This immediately sets up humanity's struggle to control forces far beyond its comprehension.
Then in 1973, we get the pivotal Skull Island incident documented in Kong. Skull Island. Bill Randa leads a dangerous expedition to the newly discovered Skull Island, a hidden primal paradise. There, they encounter Kong, its colossal guardian, and the terrifying subterranean predators known as skull crawlers.
Nasty things.
Locked in an ancient battle with Kong, survivors from this mission are later recruited into Monarch and shown compelling evidence of other dormant titans, including Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, solidifying the existence of a much wider interconnected titan ecosystem on Earth.
Fast forward to G-Day and the World's Awakening, from 1999 to 2014. Where humanity can no longer deny the Titan's existence. A mining operation in the Philippines in 1999 inadvertently uncovers ancient MUTO spores, leading to the devastating Gojira nuclear power plant meltdown.
A tragic origin for Fort Brody.
Right. In 2014, the male MUTO emerges from the ruins, awakening Godzilla. A female MUTO hatches in Nevada, and the two monstrous creatures converge on San Francisco for a mating ritual, devastating the city in their wake. Godzilla intercepts the mating pair, engaging in this brutal city-leveling battle. He ultimately kills both MUTOs. A decisive victory that, despite the destruction, leads the world to finally accept the terrifying reality of giant monsters and Godzilla's role within this new order.
And this uneasy acceptance leads directly into the reign of the False King. From 2015 to 2019, this is where the global conflict truly escalates. Eco-terrorist Alan Jonah and a disillusioned monarch scientist, Dr. Emma Russell, conspire to unleash Monster Zero King Ghidorah from his icy prison in the Antarctic.
Last move.
Very bad move. Ghidorah doesn't just emerge, he becomes the terrifying false king, broadcasting an alpha call that wakes other dormant titans globally, plunging humanity into a true multi-front kaiju war. Godzilla, humanity's reluctant protector, is pushed to his absolute limits. Even surviving a devastating oxygen destroyer attack, ironically, the very weapon that killed the 1954 Godzilla in a different timeline.
Wow, the oxygen destroyer returns.
But it's Mothra's heroic sacrifice, transferring her life force to empower Godzilla into the awe-inspiring burning Godzilla that turns the tide. This moment isn't just a power-up, it solidifies Godzilla's role as the Earth's true reigning alpha titan, with the remaining titans literally bowing to him in a stunning display of natural hierarchy.
This culminates in the epic clash of kings in the new empire, from 2024 to 2027. We see humanity, through apex cybernetics, building Mechagodzilla using a Ghidorah skull for its neural network.
Which never runs well.
Never. Meanwhile, Kong is brought from Skull Island to guide an expedition to Hollow Earth for a new, powerful energy source for humanity. Godzilla perceives Kong as a rival alpha, leading to their first brutal clashes at sea. Inside Hollow Earth, Kong discovers his ancestral throne room and a powerful battle axe, revealing the ancient history of his species.
Inevitably, Mechagodzilla goes rogue, possessed by Ghidorah's lingering consciousness and rampages through Hong Kong, posing an existential threat to both Titans and humanity. This forces Kong and Godzilla, once rivals, to form an unlikely, desperate alliance, fighting side by side to destroy Mechagodzilla in a spectacular display of combined force.
The team up.
In the aftermath, they acknowledge each other's alpha status. Godzilla reigns on the surface, maintaining balance, while Kong becomes the new benevolent ruler of the Hollow Earth, creating a fragile peace between the two dominant titans.
And the newest chapter, unfolding in 2027, sees Kong discovering the tyrannical Scar King's empire in a previously hidden region of Hollow Earth. With the Scar King controlling the ice, Titan Shimo through a powerful crystal.
Expanding the Hollow Earth lore.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Godzilla evolves into an even more powerful form, radiating vibrant pink atomic energy, indicating his continued adaptation and growth. Mothra returns once again, playing her ancient role as a balancer, and brokers a crucial truce between Godzilla and Kong, uniting them for the greater good.
The Trinity.
The three Titans, a truly formidable alliance, unite to battle the Scar King and Shimo, ultimately freeing Shimo from the tyrant's control and defeating the Scar King. Godzilla rests after restoring global balance, and Kong fully embraces his role as the benevolent leader of the great apes in Hollow Earth. It's a massive, unfolding saga that continues to explore the complex relationship between nature, humanity, and ancient power.
It really is. The MonsterVerse has successfully built this sprawling, coherent mythology, allowing for long-form storytelling that continues to captivate audiences by exploring how these ancient forces interact with our modern world, often drawing on global myths to create something truly epic.
Okay, but beyond the silver screen, the Godzilla lore extends into this vast multiverse of officially licensed comics, novels, and video games. These expanded universes are truly fascinating because they allow creators to explore really high-concept ideas and genres, largely free from the commercial and budgetary constraints of blockbuster filmmaking.
Absolutely. They push the boundaries of what a Godzilla story can be, daring to ask, what if?
Like the Marvel Comics canon from 1977-1979, that was wild.
It really was. Godzilla was integrated directly into Earth 616, the main Marvel universe, clashing with iconic heroes like SHIELD, the Avengers, even the Fantastic Four, as well as new original monsters like the giant robot Red Ronin.
Godzilla versus the Thing.
It happened. Even though the licensing agreement eventually expired, his rampage remains this fascinating, if often forgotten, part of Marvel history. It's kind of wild to think about Godzilla fighting alongside or against superheroes like Spider-Man.
Then there's the Dark Horse Comics canon, which created its own sprawling universe from the 50s to 1996, telling this alternate history of Godzilla's appearances. This continuity featured an international G-force, introduced compelling new kaiju like the bat-like Gojira and the cybernetic Cybersaur.
And even presented a complex time travel arc that sent Godzilla back to the Mesozoic era, showcasing unique scenarios way beyond the films.
And IDW Publishing, from 2011 to the present, they've been incredibly prolific, creating multiple, distinct, and often critically acclaimed continuities.
Their main IDW universe, seen in titles like Kingdom of Monsters and Rulers of Earth, features the largest roster of Toho monsters ever assembled, all uniting to fight this massive alien invasion by the Cryog, a technologically advanced species, and their colossal, planet-sized super kaiju, Gojira.
Wow, planet-sized.
Then there's Godzilla, the Half-Century War, a critically acclaimed miniseries told from the poignant perspective of Oda Murakami, a soldier who dedicates 50 years of his life to fighting Godzilla, culminating in this powerful final battle against a psychically controlled Godzilla. Really great character study.
And perhaps the most unique and artistically daring of all, Godzilla in Hell.
Oh yeah. A truly surreal, dialogue-free miniseries depicting Godzilla's journey after death, battling demonic versions of past foes in this twisted, Dante-esque landscape, ultimately taking the throne of hell.
What a concept.
Truly. It pushes the boundaries of the character, exploring him in this purely allegorical and mythological sense, as a force so primal it transcends even death. Other standalone IDW continuities include Godzilla, Rage Across Time, where Godzilla appears throughout different periods of human history, and Godzilla, Oblivion, involving a portal opening to a kaiju overrun Earth. Most recently, the new Heisei era is introducing entirely new concepts, including human kaiju hybrids, showing the boundless potential for reimagining the myth.
And let's not forget the novels and games. The Mark Cerasini novel series in the 90s created its own continuity with original monsters and complex military operations against Godzilla, and the 2014 Godzilla PlayStation 34 video game.
The one where you are Godzilla.
Yeah. It features the unique God of Destruction mode, where the player actually controls Godzilla as he grows larger and more powerful with each act of destruction, culminating in a battle against a super-evolved Godzilla, fourth form, from Shin Godzilla, tying different eras together in gameplay.
These expanded universes offer incredible creative freedom, allowing for explorations that might be too niche or experimental for the big screen, yet they collectively enrich the overall Godzilla mythos immensely, proving just how versatile and enduring this character truly is.
So we've journeyed through 70 years of the Godzilla multiverse, witnessing his profound narrative plasticity and incredible cultural staying power. From that somber nuclear allegory of 1954 to the heroic space adventures of the 1970s, the tightly plotted saga of the Heisei era, and the bold, director-driven reinterpretations of the Millennium and Reiwa periods, Godzilla has proven remarkably adaptable.
The franchise's longevity isn't despite its many retcons and contradictions, but precisely because of them. Each new universe doesn't just tell a story, it explores a core set of enduring ideas. Godzilla as a terrifying consequence of humanity's hubris, especially nuclear power.
Always comes back to that.
A magnificent symbol of nature's terrifying, indomitable power. And a force that continually pushes humanity to confront its own capacity for destruction and its potential for resilience and cooperation. He can be a terrifying villain, a reluctant anti-hero, a children's champion, or a divine force, this ever-evolving canvas for our collective fears and hopes.
Ultimately, the Godzilla lore isn't just a history to be memorized, is it? It's a collection of dynamic, living myths to be interpreted and reinterpreted. His branching timelines aren't flaws in continuity, but powerful proof of a central concept so potent that it can sustain infinite retelling, reflecting the anxieties and aspirations of each generation.
So after this deep dive, what does you think he reflects about us today? And what new myth might he become next? The possibilities, much like his destructive yet awe-inspiring power, truly seem limitless.
This has been a deep dive into 70 years of a cultural phenomenon, a true king of the monsters. We hope you feel far more informed and ready to explore your own corner of this incredible, ever-expanding multiverse.